Yes, everyone, welcome back to the channel. Stephen Howson. We're going to do a bit of a chat today talking about Manchester United's expectations because you know what? These are changing. I want you guys to get involved in the comments. I want to know what you lot think in terms of where United should be finishing, what United should be looking to achieve this season. And let me know in the comments, has Ten Hag changed your expectations of this season in the season? Yes or no? Rodrigo says greetings from Brazil. Must be early doors over there. Greetings, though. Welcome. So let's get into it. United are on a roll. We are 9 wins in a row. Already taken down big boys in the league this season. Currently sitting just 1 point behind Manchester City. Did anyone actually have that as any sort of expectation at the start of the season? I can't imagine you did. What are the realistic expectations for this club right now? We're still in all 4 competitions. Can we win all 4? I think you get some tasty odds if you try to put that on. Luke Edwards in the Telegraph. Actually, no, we're going to talk about him in a little bit. So, for me, let's take it in order of least important. The EFL Cup. We're into the semi-final. We've got a pretty favourable, very winnable draw, especially with their first choice goalkeeper not being allowed to play. United should progress to the final. Can we beat Newcastle in a final? 100%. 100%. Do I make us favourites? Yes. Do I think we go there and put 4 or 5 past them? Probably not. Newcastle are tough to beat at the moment. They're getting a lot of draws. They're not being very adventurous, but they're picking up points. So, do I think we can beat Newcastle? Yes, I don't fear Newcastle, and I think United can go and get the first piece of silverware wrapped up nice and early in the season. I would make Europa League the next most important, below the FA Cup. Because the FA Cup we haven't won in a minute, and I would like to win the FA Cup. So, on the FA Cup front, on the EFL front, you've got Barcelona. Now, Xavi is playing some brilliant football. Can we beat them? Yes. Over 2 legs? Tough ask. But they're a bit dysfunctional. They played really well the other night, but they are a little bit dysfunctional, and they can be got at. I don't think they're the same level as Manchester City, and we just restricted Manchester City to a single shot on goal. So can we do that to Barcelona? Yes. Especially if we have our full quota of players. Now, the FA Cup, some of you in the comments here saying sack the FA Cup off. Okay, that's your opinion. In my opinion, the FA Cup sits a little bit higher than the Europa League, especially with what it means to United. And I want to chase Arsenal back down and be the ones with the most in the country again. So, FA Cup, we've proven we can beat anybody in the country, haven't we? We've already done that. I don't think we are the best, and I think what will probably hurt us with the FA Cup is probably fixture pile-up. Like, if we drew Liverpool, you asked. Not at all. If we drew, like, can you imagine Trent against Marcus Rashford at the moment? They would have to make it 18 and above in the stadium because he's going to get fucked, right? Can we beat Chelsea at the moment? Yeah, Chelsea are hilarious. Can we beat City? Yep. You're looking at City and Arsenal as the teams that are a threat to you. And they'll be looking at us and thinking they're a threat to us as well, being the only team that's beat both of them this season. Now, if you catch City on the wrong day, you can get a spanking, as we found out at the Etihad early in the season. And then you've got the league. Do I think we can win the league? No. I think we're in a race, but I don't have the expectation that we could win it. So, could United win a plastic treble this season? Absolutely. We could, if we get through Barcelona, I make us favourites for the Europa. If we're into the final, I make us favourites against Newcastle. And I think we've already demonstrated we can beat anyone in the FA Cup, although I think there's just too many games involved if we're already going the distance in the EFL and Europa as well. So I think we'd probably end up doing a Europa and EFL double. But the most important thing, sadly, because to me football should be about winning and celebrating trophies, but it is a fact. The most important thing for the business of the football club and for attracting players is to be in the Champions League. Do I think we'll finish in the Champions League places? Yes, I do. I'm very confident with that. So that's what I think will happen. I think we'll probably win the EFL. go quite close in Europa, probably fall at one of the hurdles, City or Arsenal in the FA Cup, but wouldn't be surprised if we did win it, and probably finish third. If it's third within a couple of points, like literally one win of City and Arsenal, or even just City, if they come second, I would absolutely take that. Carl Moss says, I'd be happy with top 4 on any trophy. It'd be a great first season for Ten Hag to build on. Plus Gaming says, don't forget the Thailand Cup. Now, of course, I didn't think I needed to mention the Bangkok Century Cup, because that's glittering away on our mantelpiece, as is the World Cup. But we've got to do what we've got to do with UEFA and FA. Peter says, love your video on the other channel, was really well made with insight. What do I think of Martinez at CDM sometimes with how well Shaw is performing? I think you play the players in their primary position. However, I did toy with the idea. My Palace preview is going to be out a little bit later on today, and I did toy with the idea of having Martinez at centre mid, because he has played there with Ajax. And we was very confused about whether he was going to play centre half or centre mid at the start of the season. No longer much confusion about that. He plays at centre half. But I thought Martinez needs minutes. Martinez is going to play. Luke Shaw and Malacia, neither of them really need dropping. So it would make sense to give Martinez some minutes in the middle of the park. And it also throws up a really interesting proposition, because then as Arteta's scouting us, you've just thrown all sorts of options on the table, and that makes his job figuring out how we're going to play that little bit harder. Do we have an in-house barber? No, we don't. I go every other week when I can. I was about 3 or 4 weeks without one in the summer. Richard Schenk says, I hope Wout will have some minutes against Palace so he can go in against Arsenal. I think he starts. I think he starts and does an hour against Palace. Let's not forget the takeover too by March or April. Listen, if Manchester United don't win a trophy and only come top 4, but we get bought out, that's the trophy. And I will book an open top bus for United getting bought out. And that can be our trophy. And we'll have a parade for getting rid of the Glazers. And you know the dance by now, and if you don't, it's sausage rolls on me. Alex says, for me, a successful season is top 4 and then 2 out of the 3 cups. Okay, yeah, that I agree would definitely be successful. I don't think there's anyone going, nah, that's not successful. But what's the minimum expectation from here? What would you be annoyed at? Because I think if we didn't get the EFL and we didn't get top 4, I think I'd be pretty pissed off now. Not necessarily with the manager, just in general. I think I'd be pissed off if we didn't achieve that, because I feel like both of those things are in our hands. Chet says, Glazers out parade would be a big win. Absolutely. That's going right next to the 20 titles, that is. Ace Nog says, when we're sold, it's sausage rolls for the whole of Manchester on you. Yep, that's it. No Blues though, but that's only about 15 people, so don't worry about it. Peter Knight says, I pray new owners don't get rid of Ten Hag, would be truly heartbroken. They would have a riot on their hands greater than what the Glazers have seen, I'm certain. Charlie says, I think it's become blatantly obvious United are going somewhere with Ten Hag, and rivals and pundits are hating it. I'll tell you this, I am secretly loving the fume. Every single talk show, every single channel, every single network has had a massive debate on Manchester United's perfectly legitimate goal. Play to the motherfucking whistle and shut up moaning. You're trying to complain about a goal that VAR looked at and was like, that's perfectly legitimate. I don't remember this fume when it's happened to other clubs, and I don't remember the fume when United have been knocked out of cup competitions on the back of handballs, which I thought anytime it touches your hand in the build-up, that's it, game over. But no, not when it's against United. People are absolutely livid, and that tells you that United are on the way to being back. It also tells me that Howard Webb is back in charge, and boy, did we miss him. Combined odds for a quadruple returns 1,236 for £1. Well, maybe we beat Crystal Palace and Arsenal, and maybe I put that on. Yash says, we lost 2 games, Middlesbrough and Sociedad, due to BS penalties that weren't pens. Thank you. Would I leave Casemiro out of Palace game because of his yellow card worry? Yes, I do. If you want to watch my preview, that will be out a little bit later on. But I'll give you a little bit of a sneak peek. Casemiro is sitting this one out. And speaking of which, the man that I think will replace him. So Luke Edwards in the Telegraph has been talking. He says Scott McTominay is worried about the lack of playing time at Manchester United and would be open to moving to Newcastle if the interest was cemented. Well, I'm going to have to be real with you, brother. If he's going in to replace the Longstaff bros, what was the price they quoted us for him? 50 million? Well, inflation and all that lot, cost of living's gone up. 65 million, Newcastle, and you can have Scott McTominay, your very own Scott McTominay. And I will get a Salford van Hire, and I will take him and all his shit up there for that sort of cash. Any problems? No, I don't mind Scott as a squad player at United. But if you was given a meaningful amount of money, I would have no qualms in getting rid of him. None. Romano has been talking about Palestri, and he says United have scheduled a new round of talks with Palestri's agent to discuss about a possible loan move in January. Palestri is waiting for the club and Ten Hag's decision, as many clubs have asked for a loan deal, including Valencia, Bologna and Flamengo. That's interesting. I expect the likes of Charlie Savage, maybe Mainu, maybe not because of his age, possibly Charlie McNeil, especially once Wout hits the ground running, and Zidane Iqbal, maybe even Mengi, now he's back over his injury. I think that they are all going on loan. ETH says, when would you say we are favourites to win the title? I would say United are favourites to win the title if it's 2 hours before kickoff on game 38 and United are playing a team from the bottom half and we have got 1 point above everybody else. So that means the result is in our hands. We win our game, we do our bits, United are favourites. Otherwise, whilst we're third in the table, we are not favourites. Which might mean, with the points gap that they've got at the moment, you'd have to say Arsenal are the favourites, and not winning the league at this point would be abject failure, and they probably should sack Arteta. I'm saying. Alanga. This is a strange one. So Borussia Dortmund are exploring the conditions of a loan deal to sign Alanga from United. Apparently it's concrete and reported by TalkSport. Understanding from the player side is that the Bundesliga move is interesting, but also Everton are interested. Now, for me, he doesn't start at Everton. I'm not sure he starts at Borussia Dortmund either. But I also don't think Alanga is Manchester United quality. I think that's obvious when you watch him play. Again, at best, squad player that can come in and give somebody a night off, but I don't know is the required quality to be a Manchester United player. Yash says we are favourites if we win every game until March. God, yeah. Do I see Mason Greenwood ever playing for United again? I would say at the moment it's extremely unlikely. Ed says, I came into the season wanting top 6 and at least a cup semi. Now I expect top 4 and an EFL Cup. Brian says, given the results and more importantly the performance, there's no reason we can't win the lot. We've beaten all the so-called top teams in the league. We've won games we lost in the past. Jake says, did someone say an Amazon series about Arsenal? They're not filming this year still, are they? That would be absolutely fantastic, wouldn't it, if we saw them losing the title on Amazon. Do I think Jude would go to the Scousers if they don't get Champions League? Absolutely not. I don't know why they feel like they're favourites for him, and I don't think they're getting Champions League either. And that could be a massive problem for them because in the midst of recruitment, it's hard work bringing players in because they want to play in the Champions League. Simple as that. If we get lucky, if injuries, a big run is possible. Yeah, I'm so comfortable watching United at the moment where I go, I think we're going to do bits. I think we get a goal, and I don't worry if we can keep hold of that lead. I think we might double it, or worst case scenario, hold on to the 3 points. Do I think Laird will get his chance next season, how he is playing this season? I think time might be running out for Ethan. But, so, I don't know. He's a Liverpool fan and Gerrard is his hero. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was a Liverpool fan. We all make mistakes. ETH says Todd has made a mockery of FFP. Find it hilarious. The 8-year deals will screw them over. That's something that they're going to really struggle with in a few years' time. Absolutely. Would I rather get Enzo or Jude if we had the chance? Ooh. I think Jude stays here for a long time. Enzo's going to end up at Madrid at some point. Knight says some of United playing out from the back out of the press is unbelievable. Ten Hag has us cooking. I think it's the details that I'm impressed with. It's the very small details. He just seems to be getting everything right. And like Parth says in the comments there, Jason Sanchez, new signing. If he manages to bring Jason Sanchez back and we see the level of player that we know is in there after this little extended period out, there is a real world-class talent in Jadon Sancho. I don't think we've seen the full force of it, but if he can get even to the level Marcus is playing at the moment, can you imagine those two and Anthony potentially running off the horse in the middle? God damn. God damn. Brian Casey says Liverpool's era of dominance ended with them winning 1 Premier League, 1 Champions League, and 1 FA Cup, and United did that in 10 days in 1999. Junior Gong says Jason Sanchez. You need to stick around here a little bit more. Arjun says, if Weghorst scores 10 goals from here on onwards, will Ten Hag sign him permanently? I haven't heard anything on that one. Peter says, should we worry about Rashford and Garnacho's situation? No, I think both of them see success here, and I think that would be enough to keep both of them here. Charles says, thoughts on Pep saying he doesn't care about the Prem? I'll roll it back to something I said a couple of years ago when Jose used to talk absolute wibble in his press conferences. Don't listen to managers in press conferences. Every single thing that they say is either scripted, has got a specific meaning, or there's a reason for them saying it, and they'll probably be saying different behind closed doors. So don't listen to him. It was Pep's attempts at mind games, and I think he comes across more like Kevin Keegan than Sir Alex Ferguson when he comes out and says that sort of stuff. Nate says, as an American, it appears Boehly is modelling the contracts like USA Sports. Also, going to the match against Barca at Old Trafford. See you there. Yes, you will see me there. Thoughts on Weghorst winner against Arsenal? It's going to be absolute carnage, isn't it? Do you think it could be a Cole and York potential with Sancho and Rashford? No, because the game's gone, and obviously we play with 3 forwards. So I don't think you're going to see those partnerships again. Rio was saying yesterday that we've got Andy Cole agreed to come on Vibe with 5 of us. I cannot wait for that episode. I swear to God. And especially with Rio, because I've interviewed Andy Cole before, and it is hard work. I'm hoping we can go out for something to eat with him first, get him relaxed, then go and do the podcast and have him be relaxed and chill. Where do I sit in Old Trafford? I'm on tier 2 at the Stretford end. Beatrice says, finally caught you live. Love your opinions, sense of humour. Love from India. Thank you. Tyrone says it's Andrew Cole. Hasn't he come out and said he's not really asked? I don't know. Get him drunk first. I'm not sure that's advisable with a man that's got kidney problems. I don't want to kill Andy Cole. So you can have a tap water. Room temperature. Ian says, do I think the Mickey Mouse treble is on? I think it could be. It definitely could be. Graham Souness, thoughts? I think he has got a comedy ghostwriter, and I think they're feeding him absolute nonsense, and that's how it works. Why was it hard work interviewing him? Andy Cole's kind of known for not really giving a toss about media, and his character is a little bit prickly. People who worked with him and played with him have always said, he's just a quiet guy. He's just a quiet guy that doesn't really give a shit about, in the same way that Paul Scholes could be. Doesn't give a shit about the media. Never needed to. So yeah. Next Finnish player from Madrid we're going to sign. Benzema. Benzema must be finished soon, right? Look at the age on him. Yeah, we'll take him off your hands for fuck all, I reckon. He's finished. Clapped out. Don't even play internationally anymore. Squawk says, listening to the audiobook for 99, unbelievable. Honestly, it's an experience re-listening to it. And if you've not, check it out. Go get it. Right, I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you guys for joining us. Make sure to check out the review that will be out later on. I want you to comment when the video finishes where you guys think Manchester United will finish. What are your expectations? What will you accept? What will be success? What will be failure? I want to know all of that sort of stuff in the comments. And I'll catch you lot in the next one. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, 5-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.